One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet who millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Maaga Egawad Jacob Fry, Doke Magalada, Minneapolis. Damaan, Shaabka Somaliyed, Kayimid, Mogadishu, Garowe, Hargeisa, Bosaso, Bedabo, Kismayo, Wahan Rabah, In An Idin Shego. Minneapolis, Wa Magaladina, Wahad Kamid Tihin, Laf Dabarka, Magaladan Ka Digesa, Boshado, Isku, Duban, Sikasta U Madewen, Donald Trump U Su Rugo, Sharki, Minneapolis, Wa Magalo Garnesa, Wanaga, Iyo Kemaha, Ad Ledehin, Ugo Danbenti, Wahan Idin, Leahe, Eid Wanaxen, Eid Mubarak. Damantin, Wahana Idin, Rejenaya, Inad Wati, Fian, La Kadatan Dadkina, Ad J. Shaheen. My name is Jacob Fry, Mayor of Minneapolis, and I want to speak directly to the Somali community. Whether you come from Mogadishu, Garowe, Hargeisa, Bosaso, Medoa, or Kismayo, Minneapolis is your city. You are a vital part of the fabric that makes our city strong, diverse, and united. No matter what policies may be introduced by President Donald Trump, Minneapolis stands with you and values who you are and what you bring to our city. I wish you all Eid Mubarak, and I hope you have a wonderful time with your loved ones. Donald Trump's justification for the travel ban hinges on one Egyptian national who allowed his hatred for Netanyahu's actions to spill over into violence against innocent Jewish people in Colorado. That logic is dangerous. Holding entire nations accountable for the actions of a few individuals is the very same fallacy. Here in Minneapolis, people of every background have broken the law, and when they do, we hold them accountable as individuals. That's how justice works. Cutting off an entire diaspora from its roots doesn't keep anyone safe. It only deepens division at a time when connection is more important than ever. The bond between Somalia and Minneapolis is long-standing and it's deep. We will not let Donald Trump's bans alienate our Somali residents, our neighbors, and friends whom we love.
How you doing? How'd you like that? How did you take that? I just want you guys to know that was not AI. That was 100% real. That was the mayor of Minneapolis. These people have obviously waved the white flag. They have obviously surrendered for whatever reason. They have chosen the Somalis to be the chosen people over Americans. I don't understand it. It makes absolutely no sense. But what I'm going to show you today, which dovetails off of what I showed you yesterday, is probably going to anger you. If that was even possible, that you could be angered even more. Well, Barry, it's the holiday season. We have New Year's coming up in a couple days. We just got through Christmas. Why would you intentionally put some stuff together that would anger people? Because like I told you yesterday, you need to see it. You need to understand when what comes next, why it's coming. You need to have righteous anger. You need to understand what these people have done to you. I understand many of you know, you lived through COVID, you lived through some of this stuff, but now it's becoming voluminous. And every single day when you wake up, you just go, not more. At all levels. It just keeps coming and keeps coming and keeps coming. And so I understand that you're angry. There's been people angry at me. I cannot believe you're standing up for Pam Bondi. You're going to eat crow. And if you have a degree of rationality, you have to sit back. You yourself have to just, wait a second, what's going on here? I voted for this guy. I watched the rallies. I saw him get shot. I saw him get dragged through the courtroom. What gives here? This doesn't make any sense. None of this is making sense to you because you're not allowing it to make sense to you. The theme I showed you yesterday was he had to show you. And now it's turned into an absolute avalanche. And there's a little bit of proof that I'm going to offer you today to show you this is intended. You are intended to be pissed off. And if you look at the left, it took them a long time to figure out how they were going to respond. And now the response is, well, everybody commits crimes. That's your response to this? Everybody commits crimes. Let me know the last time, other than, I don't know what, Bernie Madoff? Who's stealing billions of dollars? Who's continuing? This is the important part for you to understand today. They are continuing to steal dollars. They are being advocated to continue stealing dollars. There is no, oh, we're sorry. I want you to understand that there is nobody out there right now who's saying, oh, this shouldn't have happened. It's 100% the opposite. Don't question these people, you racist, you homophobe, you xenophobe, whatever phobe they want to attach. What they're saying right now, it's your fault. And as you heard the mayor say, it's Trump's fault. When he just said there's a lie, when he said you do not go after a class of people, the mayor there obviously doesn't understand RICO prosecutions, where you do go after a group of people who were involved in a crime. The conspiracy, the execution, it involves an entire organization. La Cosa Nostra, the mob. It wasn't just one person, it was the entire organization that they went after. But they're trying to tell you this is based on race. This is based on that. But it's going much deeper. And it wasn't until I think last week that I realized what happened, not in the 2020 election, but what happened in the 2016 election. Right now, this is surface level stuff. It's bubbling up. You're seeing it. And you're seeing it and can't believe what you're seeing because you weren't supposed to see it. And then some of the defense that they're doing, oh, these are old crimes. To who? Oh, it's been happening since, 2017. Huh? And everybody just looked the other way? That's the excuse? It's old news. Well, no, it's damn sure new news. It's damn sure news to people who didn't know. And we want to know why it is it's old news. How did this happen where everybody knew it was going on in President Trump's first term? See, that's what a lot of people aren't realizing. This has been going on since 2016, 2017, probably even before that with Obama. This has been going on for quite some time. Many of us are just seeing this and going, what in the hell is this? And why didn't Trump take care of it during his first term? Now you know why they impeached him twice. Now you know why he was surrounded by some of the worst people ever. He was contained. They made sure every possible way there was nothing you were going to do to stop the grift. Which tells you the Somalis are just the foot soldiers. There were people in our government, deep state, rhinos, Democrats, who are actually part of the RICO organization. There are going to be people who are going to get caught in this umbrella. They've been working it since, who knows, maybe before 2016, obviously before 2016. Everybody I see, oh, this is old news. Which should tell you something. I'm going to get into that as we move forward, but that should tell you something, because if it's old news, then Trump knew. If it's old news, it means that Trump wasn't able to stop it in his first term, which is why he almost caught a fatal bullet. If you follow the timeline now, you should be starting to realize, oh, now we know why certain people were doing things to keep him at arm's length. Why James Comey sent somebody in because, we figured he didn't know what he was doing, so we just did it. It's funny. They all knew. We can't let this guy loose in the White House. We can't possibly let him do what he thinks he knows. One of the funny things that I don't know many people have thought of, when everybody was screaming about the Epstein files, which, by the way, did they disappear? The Epstein files just go away? Did all the rage about Epstein just take off? You see, one of the things about trying to tie Donald Trump to Epstein is that in addition to being a vile procurer of things sexual in nature, Jeffrey was also a procurer and mover of money. If you're saying that Trump was involved in all of the bad Epstein stuff, the really bad Epstein stuff, then you are also given an indication that that Trump must know the other bad Epstein stuff. You can't draw a parallel and say he was this close to him. Oh, he's one of his best friends. And then on the other hand, think to yourself, well, doesn't he know about the money as well? You notice when they're talking, about the evil stuff they did with children. They never talk about the money. Why is that? Jeffrey Epstein was loaded. Never had a job, planes, his own island. What did Jeffrey Epstein do? Oh, it was a lot more than the stuff, the vile stuff that we've heard about. Nobody talks about the finance. So where do you think this money was going? We know what the money probably was for, but let's be honest, we're adults here. This side of the operation didn't come at a heavy cost. You know, the product that they were moving around, however they got that product, that wasn't expensive. So if people were paying to go there, they weren't paying that much. Obviously, a lot of blackmail. What was going on with the money? And I want you to think, in the time that you've been hearing all about Epstein, have you been hearing anything about the money he moved all around the world? Where did it come from? Who paid it? I know everybody wants to focus on the Johns, but the other side of the coin is, and maybe this is the first time you're even thinking about it, where'd all this money come from? Where did it all go? See, this is the part of the thing that Trump knew back in 2016. He knew what was going on with the kids. He banned them from Mar-a-Lago. Ergo, he knows what's going on with the money. Matter of fact, during the debate with Hillary, he actually said it. I know where it's going. If he knew and he couldn't do anything about it because Bill Barr and Jeff Sessions was a panty waste of an AG, who knows what happened in that regard. The thing that the deep state knew is we got him. He's out. We took the 2020. We did whatever we had to do to get rid of him. And we have 4 years and we're going to make all kinds of bank and we're just going to crank everything up. And that other guy, Jeffrey, we don't need him anymore. So let's off him, supposedly. But then that guy that they thought they got rid of, he resurfaces. And now he's resurfacing with a vengeance. You tried to kill me. You tried to take my business, my home, my friends, my family. You went after everything. You see, I know some of you are parents. I know some of you men are parents. And I know you would feel the same way I did, just, here on the holiday season, just having the grandkids here in town. What would you do for your grandkids and your kids, your wife? The answer to that is anything. You would gladly take a bullet if it meant they were going to be okay. It would never be a question. Hey, they're coming after your family, but they're probably going to take you out. Hey, well, I'm in the way, which he said many times over and over. So he's known the perils of what he knows. There's no reason to remove a guy if you have no fear of him. You can go back and look at old mob movies and realize who they went after when they needed to go after somebody. It was somebody who was in the way. It was somebody who threatened somebody else. When I say threaten, their ability to do what they need to do. And so as you're listening and watching the stuff that I'm going to show you here, I want you to just remember, he said it many times. We have everything. I couldn't use what I had, but I have everything. And then he also said something one day when they were raising the new flags in front of the White House is the hunted has become the hunter. His exact words. And I think to myself, I have to remind people over and over of the things he says, because you see the Panicans and people screaming, and you think either they don't know, they're being paid to pretend they don't know, or they're just idiots. You can pick which one they are. Maybe even you have said, things suck, we need this, and how come that's not happening? Maybe you need to go back and just revisit some of the things he said, some of the things he's done, what he had to do, how he had to get where he is right now. And that's why it's not like I am a bootlicker. I can just easily go back in my old videos and look and go, oh yeah, I remember he said that. Oh, I remember that. I remember that. Maybe go back and look at some of the impeachment hearings. People have such short memories. You don't recall him sitting in the courtrooms in New York and just staring at the camera. Like, you don't even know what's coming. And notice, when people say nothing's happening, what's going on in Georgia? Ask Fannie Willis if nothing is happening. People have very short memories, and right now that that flame has been lit because of what we're seeing now. It's gotten to the point where, dare I say, the money has pissed people off more than the Epstein stuff. Tells you where people are as a country. Yeah, you were mad at the Epstein stuff, but no, this is too much. I am not going to pay my taxes. Oh, this is too much. You're taking my money out of my pocket. I go to work every single day. I got to work 4 months out of the year before, I even get into profit because they take it. I've heard it. You've heard it. You've seen it. Where were they when they were talking about the Epstein stuff? Not a lot of people. Now the money has got people all freaked out, pissed off, realizing they're slaves. See, if you weren't abused by Jeffrey Epstein, it really was an arm's length transaction. That was bad. We want to know. We want to solve it. But it's no longer an arm's length transaction. Every single one of us is involved personally with what is happening with this Somali craziness. And it ain't just them. We are all unwilling participants. We are all unwilling donors. None of us had anything to do with what happened on that island. We were all spectators. Oh, that's awful. Oh, you see these pictures? Oh, they're all... But now you're in the game. It's a different feeling, isn't it? It is completely different saying, wait a second, man. That's my money. And you can just scroll through all the people saying, I ain't paying taxes. Oh, this is like the Tea Party. This is a revolution. You see a completely different thing with people. How did that happen? How did that difference happen to where people right now are ready to get pitchforks and torches? They weren't ready to get pitchforks and torches for the other stuff, but you're ready to run down the street right now and run through a wall. Yeah, you're screwing me. Well, after what I show you today, it's going to make you madder, because not only are they screwing you, they're laughing at you and telling you, we're going to keep doing it. See, at least the shame of being caught on that island could stop, or at least slow down some of the perps who were involved in this stuff. There are ladies doing press conferences, and so probably some people were like freaking out. Not this. This is completely out in the open, and people are pissed off. Probably even you. I know, because I get some of the comments. Barry, what do you think about it? Yeah, I'm pissed off. I'm not a slave anymore. I don't have a company immediately taking the money away from me where I can't do anything. You see, when I've done my parallels to the Matrix, now some of you guys might be understanding what we actually meant. Many of us meant when we said the red pill. Because the entire essence of everybody who talks about red pill is what? Opening your eyes. That's what the whole thing was about. We have to show you. What if everything you've been looking at is an illusion? Everything you turn on the television. We found out today that James Comey works with the guy who does Law and Order. Everything is an illusion. And nobody paid any attention to it. You've seen the meme, open your eyes, don't look away. Right now, there's nobody looking away. From the person with the most followers to the person with the least followers, everybody's like, hell no, we can't keep doing this. And the only reason it's happening is because eyes are opening. So I'm going to show you some more stuff here. It's probably gonna like you can't be serious. There's not going to be more of this stuff. Yeah, there's going to be more of this stuff. I will be right back. Let me talk to you today about today's show sponsor, and it's Krill Antarctic Oil. I talk a lot to you guys about being proactive, skating where the puck is going to be, whether it's about your finances, your career, or your health. And when it comes to your health, one of the smartest moves you can make, especially as we all get older, is protecting your heart, your brain, and for me especially, my joints. That's why I've added Native Path Krill Oil to my daily routine. Now you might be wondering, what in the heck is krill oil, and what's the difference between krill oil and other omega-3s like fish oil? Well, krill oil is not like regular fish oil. Native Path Krill Oil is sourced from pristine Antarctic waters. No microplastics, away from the heavy metals and toxins, all that stuff that you want to avoid. It's packed with powerful omega-3s in phospholipid form, which means your body actually absorbs them even better and up to 2 times more efficiently than normal typical fish oil you buy at the supermarket. But here's the kicker. Krill oil contains natural asafoethan, hope I said that correctly, which is one of nature's strongest antioxidants to help fight free radical damage, support brain clarity, and promote healthy aging. That is a powerful antioxidant that potentially neutralizes all those free radicals and it reduces oxidative stress. Basically, it gives you more energy and it gives you better joint pain or lessens your joint pain. It's been shown to be significantly more potent than any other antioxidants like vitamin C and vitamin E, which I'm not saying don't take your vitamin C. You should continue taking vitamin C. Research suggests krill oil may offer several benefits, including to your joints. It may reduce inflammation and improve joint pain. I can attest to that. It may support cardiovascular health by improving blood flow and reducing oxidative stress. It also may improve your memory and your cognitive performance. And it also may help your eyes and may improve visual fatigue. I can tell you from staring at lights and cameras and monitors, yes, you do get lots of eye fatigue. And especially it would help against age-related macular degeneration. Skin health. It may help protect against UV damage here in the summertime. Here in South Florida, we get a ton of sun. And it reduces the sign of aging, like wrinkles. Other potential benefits may also help with liver health, exercise, performance, and your metabolic health. The science is clear. So if you want to support your heart, your joints, and your brain and do it with a clean, highly absorbable source, go to this website right there, getkrill.com/Barry, and grab your krill oil for up to 66% off plus free shipping. That site again is getkrill.com/Barry. All right, so we're back. I want to show you a couple of things. Let's go with the theme of you had to be shown. You didn't know. I couldn't tell you, but I have to show you. And I want to take you to something that Stephen Miller posted. And this talks specifically to that I have to show you. For decades, let me just put a pause right there. For decades, we've known for decades. You're just finding out. The first 2 words of what he posted there are completely, I got to show you. I can't tell you. You have to see it for yourself. For decades, the structure of United States society, by intent and design, was remade to redistribute wealth, resources, property, and opportunity from Americans to non-Americans. If you just heard somebody say that, and I said, hey, Bill, just want to let you know, for decades, the entire American society was built to take what people make and give it to non-Americans. Oh, Barry, you're being foolish. That's not what's going on. No, I mean, it's happening for decades, Bill. Barry, there's no indication that's ever happened. That's the difference here. So now they're telling you, hey, I know what you're seeing, but guess what? It's been going on for a long, long time, but you would never have believed it until you were shown it. These looted assets were then used to finance the Democrat Party and all its subsidiary schemes and structures. The Democrat Party does not exist. It is a figment of people's imaginations. It's only out there because they steal money and they steal votes. And they've been allowed to, for whatever reason, for a long, long time. Now you're seeing it. You went to work every single day. You dutifully paid your taxes, raised your family, and didn't pay attention. Well, it's April 15th. I got to write that check. I got to write that check again this year. Oh, I can't believe we're paying all this money. And you were told it's your duty. Just keep doing it. The government's taking care of everything else. And you didn't know, as Stephen says here, that it was made specifically to redistribute wealth, resources, property, and opportunity from Americans to non-Americans. By design. Now you're starting to understand it. Now you're starting to realize it. Like, oh my gosh, has this been going on that long? Yeah. I want to show you next one. It began in 2000. I'm going to say no, he's lying. No, he's not lying. He's not going far enough. 1913 is when they instituted the payroll tax deduction, taking it right out of people's paychecks. It was designed so that you could never have another Tea Party. Somebody back there said, you know what? If people realize what we're doing, we could be in big trouble come April 15th. People may say, no, we're not paying you. How do we fix this? And somebody in Congress or the Senate go, I have the idea. What we're going to do is make sure it takes it out of their paycheck every single week. We don't give them a chance to hold it back. We take it out every single week for the rest of their damn working lives. And someone else went, that's a great idea. You think we could sell it to the Republicans? Why not? They're in on it too. So they went to the Republicans. Hey, we're going to make sure we got everything funded. We're going to take it directly out of their paychecks. Yeah, that sounds good to me because we get paid, right? Yeah, we get paid too. Yeah, let's do that. And hence it was born. There would not be another Tea Party. They ensured that nobody was going to board a boat and start throwing things overboard. Because you don't have it. You've already given it to us. And then if you don't give it to us, oh, wait a second. We need to form this enforcement agency to go knocking on doors and garnishing bank accounts. We're going to make sure that you never have the opportunity to rise up ever again. So when I personally talk about the Matrix and things of that nature, that's what I like to keep telling people is that you didn't see it. This was all designed to make sure they had your money, because if they didn't have your money, they would not exist as a party. And then they had to figure out how they're going to steal votes on top of that. And he goes, the UN, the United Nations, crunched the numbers and convinced Western policymakers the only way they could keep their jobs was through replacement migration. By 2010, Renaud Camus popularized the term the Great Replacement and was promptly canceled. United Nations. What in the hell do we need the United Nations for? What the hell do we need NATO for? Why are we paying all these countries to protect them? We got it. And if we don't have enough, we'll just tax you some more. Because we got to keep paying them. We got to keep doing all this other non-American stuff. So it's not just today has this thing been hatched. It's been going on for quite some time. You just weren't paying attention enough. I'm sure you paid attention because every time somebody took something out of your paycheck, you're like, man, it's getting hard to make the ends meet. Further, I want to tell you real quick about Elon. I don't know if you've been paying attention, but he's becoming much, much more vocal about things. The data guy is digging, and he's got other people digging. This was posted by Joe. The election fraud narrative is accelerating in several different states, all by design. The stolen election in 2020 will completely be revealed before the midterms. I want to focus on that word, revealed. The theme of the day, week, month, 2026 is about revealing. We were told about the election. Everybody who followed Trump knew what was going on, how the courts weren't letting things happen because they didn't want anyone to see what happened. Now we're in a different spot. You're not going to get booted off of X because you start talking about, hey, did you see what happened in Georgia? Did you see what happened in Michigan? We weren't even allowed to speak about it. Never mind, show you. That was all put in place to suppress the Americans who gave a crap. Like, how many times did you hear them say, 64 courts threw it out? No, 64 courts said, we're not even going to let you show it. We're not even going to let you have a hearing. You don't even have standing. Don't even bring it out. We don't want to see what you have to show us. You're going to see it now. You're beginning to see it now. Registration forms that didn't require any identity to it. Registration forms that didn't require any identity to it. I didn't know that. How many of you knew that? Raise your hands. Raise it in the chat. Like, what? Yeah, you're being shown. It's confirmed that Minnesota only mandates a migrant claim that they are citizens without proving. They literally only have to check a box, and nobody is even allowed to verify. Imagine doing that on your taxes. I only made like $5,000 last year, and you can't verify. Oh no, they're going to crop your butt if you say you only made $5,000. Well, how'd you buy that car? And no, you can't ask. I'm from Somalia. I just checked the box. You got to go with it. But you had to be shown this over and over and over. They said, now you think that was bad? Minnesota also lets one person vouch for 8 other migrant voters' eligibility to vote without them having to prove it. So not only are they allowing Fred to vote with no verification, if you know 8 other people, y'all can go as a group. Hey, we're all Americans. You don't look American. Oh, you're not even allowed to ask. Just check the box and vote. It is December 30th, 2025, and I'm going to push all in on my chips and say 90+% of you who don't, especially people who don't live in Minnesota, had no clue that they were allowing people just to walk up and check a box and bring 8 friends. Pissed off yet? Yeah, maybe you should be. That's the most egregious thing I've ever heard. Here, let me drop something else on you that probably you didn't know until right now. Foreign-born population accounted for more than 60% of rental property in the United States. You know, all those people saying boomers did this and boomers did that, and they're not allowing people to get housing, or there's a housing shortage? Well, tell me if you knew before 441 that 60% of the rental demand was for people who aren't supposed to be here. Let me know. I'll look in the chat. You see, the problem with all of this stuff is it's just coming out. That didn't happen yesterday. That didn't happen last year. This has been going on for quite some time. I can prove it to you because also I was involved and still am in real estate. I would know when people would show up and come up to try and rent a property. And a bus would pull up. Like, who the hell are all you people? It would be amazing. Down here, mostly Haitians. Haitians are very good, for the most part. They work very hard. I never had to deal with any Somalians. And of course, the other natives. It just kept growing and growing and growing. And then the worst part, which I'm going to show you later, it's not even, that's the bad part. Some of you guys right now, oh, the 60%. Oh my gosh, no wonder. That's not the bad part. The bad part is when you find out who was paying for it. And it didn't happen yesterday. This has been going on for years. And so when people have their righteous anger and they're all pissed off and they can't take it anymore, understand there are some people who knew this was going on, including your president, but we were past the point of being able to tell you. You had to be shown. And so now the anger going into 2026 is just building, where people are like, I am done with this. I've had enough. Screw that Epstein stuff. You're taking my money. I can't afford a house. Can't really bitch about the Epstein stuff if I can't afford to live. Now it's grabbing hold of Americans because you can't turn on YouTube or X without just saying, oh, no, more? Yeah, more. It's only going to get worse. It has to get worse because people have to find out all this stuff. Let me continue with the video.
Sources in the Somali community tell us it's an open secret that starting a daycare center is a license to make money. The fraud is so widespread, they say, that people buy shares of daycare businesses to get a cut of the huge public subsidies that are pouring in.
Now, before the punchline of this video comes, you can put in the chat and tell me, guess when this video came out on the news? He's going to tell you in a second, and you're going to, oh my God. Yeah, you'll like it.
Government insiders believe this scam is costing the state at least $100 million a year, half of all child care subsidies. Minnesota started aggressively going after daycare fraud in 2014.
I just happened to see here where somebody said, Nick Shirley brought this to the surface. Nick Shirley, I love what he did, but you have to understand, Nick Shirley did not bring this to the surface. It's been on the surface, but you just weren't looking at that part of the water. You heard 2014. This news piece is going back historically and telling you what they've been doing for quite some time. And people, I guarantee you, like, you got to be kidding me. No, Nick Shirley didn't blow it open. Nick Shirley, for whatever reason, whatever the timing was, opened eyes of people who weren't paying attention. Many of us knew this. Donald Trump knew it. Couldn't tell people because nobody wanted to even fathom this. And now this kid goes out there in the cold of Minnesota and just shows you what is the tip of the iceberg. Listen to what's been going on since 2014.
Back then, it was easier to track the flow of money. The state would pay a daycare's bill, and within hours of the money showing up in the business's bank account, funds were being wired to the United Arab Emirates. But those wire transfers stopped after a few centers were busted, which takes us back to the suitcases of cash at Minneapolis-St. Paul International. In 2015, investigators documented $14 million in carry-on cash. By 2016, it had mushroomed to $84 million, and then last year, $100 million.
I know there's people right now who just watched that and went, what the hell did I just watch? So it started 2014, it blew up in 2016, and then by 2017, it was up to $100 million just in the suitcases. Just in the suitcases that they found. That they happened to open up and go, what the hell is this? $100 million was found. By the way, we can do a little bit of work here. Some of you guys weren't born yesterday, but you can dial back your brain and think to yourself, who was president in 2017? He knew. This wasn't by secret. It wasn't by accident. Nick Shirley knocked on the head a couple of people who weren't paying attention. Nick Shirley goes, "Do you see this?" But he's saying, "Did you see this?" to the people who weren't looking before. Hey, honey, what's for dinner? They're stealing money left and right and putting hundreds of millions of dollars in frickin' suitcases in 2017. And I look at the calendar right now, it's 2025. I tell you this for two reasons. One, people weren't paying attention. And number two, how much money are we talking? If we're talking billions in the last couple of years or last year, how much money do you think they've stolen from you? How much money have these people, including your government, okayed them taking the money and running with it? Well, you go to work every single day.
Well, it was weird. I was looking at my claims and I saw this company called Community Care Partners in there, and I was like, who are these people?
They were billing her Medicaid.
Day after day.
Billing a lot.
$188.90.
Week after week.
Same thing.
Okay, so understand what she just said. This one woman, $180 a week, just coming out of her bank account to some company she has no idea who it is in Minnesota. One person. It's been going on for quite some time.
Month after month.
Until you saw their name on your insurance billing, had you ever heard of this company?
No. This company, Community Care Partners, has never worked with me in any way, shape, or form. It's like, who are you? I don't know who you are.
Who are Community Care Partners? Their website says they provide ARMS. ARMS is the acronym for Adult Rehabilitative Mental Health Services, a Medicaid program overseen by the Minnesota Department of Human Services.
Okay, well, I want you to write that down, the Minnesota Department of Human Services, because that's going to come up again in this video, or one of the videos I got to show you. So what happens when the foxes are watching the chicken coop? You see, if the people you put in place to oversee the fraud are a part of the fraud, then the fraud is being facilitated and continues. And so right now, wherever you're sitting, and maybe even if you're in Minnesota, you can now begin, oh, nope, you can't. That's because they took the website down yesterday because there were problems where you could search what was going on with human services. You see, Nick Shirley, who gets all the glory, you can't deny it. This guy blew the lid off of it for people who weren't paying attention, and for that he deserves amazing amount of credit. But your problem is you weren't seeing this. And then you have to sit back and wonder, why did I not know this? These aren't new clips here. Why were we not told? Because telling wasn't going to matter. Thankfully, Nick showed you. And now, I'm showing you older clips, but you can begin looking in your own area and seeing, where's this money going?
That helps an individual develop and enhance psychiatric stability.
I've never received any type of armed services.
Online, Community Care Partners solicits referrals with very detailed information requested. The exact info you'd need to start billing someone's Medicaid. When you click on Meet Our Team, you get a page with no information. It does say, find us at our working location in St. Anthony.
Let's go see if Community Care Partners is actually here.
So Care 11 set out to do just that.
This is the
So I don't know who this guy is, but he could be a Nick Shirley. We all could be Nick Shirley. I am Nick Shirley. I am John Galt. I am now going to go start looking. Hey, this daycare center, autism center, health center. Who are you? What are these little offices in my neighborhood? This guy didn't know. He just got in his car and he went and made a video too.
address. It says it's Suite 312.
We found a small sign on a door and a mailbox, but no one answered.
Doesn't look like anybody's actually here. It's 1:45, so we're in the middle of the day during business hours.
The Secretary of State website listed a manager. When Care 11 contacted her, she provided evidence that she'd sold the business in December 2023. That sale happened before the ghost billing to Erna's insurance started.
All right, so this is important. It seems as though in 2023, it was somehow a legitimate business. Then it gets sold. So that should be the first thing is, who bought this? Where'd they get the money for it? Because somebody, you're going to hear the numbers, so somebody figured out or was told or was shown, here's how you make money. Go find, especially if you can find when it's already in business, because if you can just buy their business, you get all the stuff and all their history and people aren't going to look at you. You've been around for a while.
And the timing raises even further questions. State Medicaid data reveals Community Care Partners billed just $20,000 in 2022 and $10,000 in 2023. However, in 2024, under new ownership, the company's Medicaid billing didn't just grow, it exploded.
There's no explanation for these numbers. No explanation how you go 20,000, you dip to 10,000, and then you make this much.
By nearly 7,000% to more than $700,000.
You can't explain that. You would have to have such a huge influx of people into an area that need your assistance, who you're billing, to go from 10 grand a year to 718,000. And nobody paid attention. In fact, they're not even looking.
And at least in Erna's case, the money was paid when no services were provided.
To be blunt, you feel like fraud was committed?
Oh, absolutely. There's no way it was not committed.
Eventually, Care 11 received an email from one of the current owners, Mohammed, who...
Did you catch that? I wish he had put that on the screen in his video. I'm like, dude, you didn't put the punchline out there. The money shot. Mohammed is the new owner. What a coincidence. If you believe in coincidences. Mohammed buys the business, and it goes from making 10 grand a year to 718,000, and it's doing ghost billing, And the guy is Muhammad. Yeah, okay.
refused to participate in an interview, but acknowledged fraudulent billing. He wrote that when they learned of a client's allegations, we immediately conducted an internal review and, that same day, terminated the staff member involved.
How do we know? How do we know that Muhammad fired Abdul? I have no idea. But the moral of the story is that nobody even bothered to check. They found somebody who complained. They stopped billing her, but they're still open. And the Department of Health and Human Services, or whatever it is in Minnesota, they don't care. They are not going to stop these people from doing anything. Even if it involves or causes Americans to be stolen from, they don't care. All right, this dude here is going to speak Somalian, I guess. I don't speak Somalian. So you're going to have to pay attention to what's shown on the screen, the subtitles. Very important. Understanding that this is Minnesota. She didn't fly back over to, Somalia and deal with the dirt. This is in Minnesota.
قضية إلهان معها قضية إلهان معها قضية مينيسوتا معها قضية غير مريكان قضية إلهان وقضية صومالية.
Did you see the smile on her face? She didn't say, hey, don't say that. I'm for Somalia. I'm Somalian first. As I try to be elected and give me the money.
إلهان وجوش الصوماليات وحين نوحن بارسنتاي معنوي. أنا أقول لا يوم عدد كصوماليات أردن مال والباقي جوجان. وحنا نكعد سنة يا إراد هيل يهول لجرب استكتان. كتها غيرتان عدكينا. dariskiina saaxiibadiin cid walba ood garanaysaana aad u sheegtaan inay soo baxaan si ay ilhaan ugu codeeyaan albaab walbana aad u garaacdaan sidii dib loogu dooran lahaa ballanteennu waa maxay ballanteennu waa inaad garab iyo gaashaan u noqotaan xildhibaan ilhaan oo aad mar kale dibi doorataan idinkoo isku duuban oo ul iyo diira mar kale mahadsanidin allah idin barakeeyo Soomaaliya ha noolaato.
Long live Somalia. I saw a comment that I want to respond to because some of you guys are a little bit nipple sore. I'm not poking at you. I'm talking to you. Like this person says, most people aren't in the know, Barry. You sound like we should have known. Most people didn't have access to this info until now. Actually, you did. It's not your fault you didn't know, but they weren't hiding this. Trump wasn't hiding it. There were a lot of people since 2016 who were talking about this. That's what you just said in your comment is exactly why things are happening the way they're happening right now. Because unless you heard it from somebody and you happened to be right there when it was said, you didn't see it. You most assuredly had access. You have the same access that Nick Shirley has. You have the same access that that other guy had when I showed you the one that was billing people weekly. This is all public record. They're not even hiding it. That's the weirdest thing when people say I don't have access to it. Yeah, you do. The problem is you're living your life. The problem is you put trust in your government to make sure that didn't happen. It's not your fault. Don't get upset that you didn't know. Be upset because the people you put or voted for, including Republicans, looked the other way. Didn't care and definitely didn't want to show you. I am not at all pointing at anybody and says, how are we supposed to know? The only way you'd know is by looking and seeing it for yourself, which up until like last week, a lot of people didn't know. But don't for an instant think that they hid it. Like I just showed you, that one video was from 2014. I mean, actually it was from 2017, but they were talking about stuff that happened in 2014, a whole 11 years ago. There have been a lot of people who were red-pilled who've been talking about this. They counted on you not being able to find it. It's not your fault. I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. They only existed to make sure that you didn't get any whiff of what was going on. To me, that makes it even worse. The deception that was involved. To tell people, yeah, vote for me and I'm going to do this and we're going to have that and this is going to happen. And now you can't be surprised anymore. You can't be surprised that the people you vote for who may have been involved in all of this stuff on both sides, which is why they don't want Trump in there. He's messing up the flow. The flow is, hey man, I was getting a good piece. How do you go from making 170 grand a year to have be a net worth of 30 million? They knew when they stepped into Congress what they were doing. They understood what it meant. They understood that they got insider information. And just since we've been doing this show, I've told you guys about the Pelosi tracker and all these different things. There are people who are now making a living, good living, after just finding out what these people have been doing. I didn't show you and introduce you to the guy from the Pelosi tracker because, you know, he's not a sponsor. Here's a guy who is young. I believe he was like 27 or 28. He was good with computers. And he found out that these guys were doing insider trading and said, if I can find out what they're doing and I do what they do, I can make some money as well. And I think he's got like over $1 billion under management right now. You see, the moral of the story right now isn't that you didn't know, or if you think you didn't have access, you thought you didn't have to have the access. You didn't think you had to look this stuff up. And so right now, one of the worst feelings people have is when they feel like they've been screwed. You've stolen from me. You have been personally offended. And it's shocking because people you trusted and people you didn't trust were smiling in your face and sticking it in your back at the same time for their financial benefit with your money. That's why I got into looking at some of the stuff with the 17th letter. That's why people called me crazy, is because I was seeing things. And the things I was seeing, I couldn't get anybody to answer any questions. Hey, what's this? And then to make sure I wasn't crazy, my wife, Robin, she was wondering, you look perturbed about something. Yeah, babe, I'm seeing something here. Doesn't make any sense. Can I see it? She said. I'm like, I don't know if you're ready for it. I don't think you're ready for what I might show you. And then, it went like a week or so, and she goes, you got to show me. And I showed her, and I told you the story. I went to bed. I came downstairs. She was still sitting on the couch with tears coming down her eyes. She goes, I didn't know that. I didn't know it. When people talk about the Epstein files and everything now, everything people want, it's been out there. Trust me, you don't want to see some of the stuff I've seen. You ain't ready for some of the stuff I've seen. You ain't ready for some of the stuff Robin's seen. And they made us feel like we were the crazy ones. Like, what is this? And then the same thing started happening with finance. Like, look at this money. Look what's going on here. We weren't making it up. We could actually see the data. Until one day Robin woke up and her account was gone. And then Facebook told me to go take a hike. I don't know how I lived through X or Twitter because I had been working in marketing and I had to go back and delete a whole bunch of posts. It was right before they hired me, I'm like, all right, delete. So I survived the purge. You see, a lot of the people, I don't know if you know this, a lot of the people that you probably follow right now got swept up in the purge and didn't even come back until Elon Musk let everybody come back. So I find it interesting now when people laugh at me or point at me and say stuff about, you're one of those 17th letter freaks. Like, now you're seeing what I've been seeing. Now you're getting ready to see this information. Before it was just about the Epstein files, but, stuff about Jeff Sessions and Bill Barr, and it's all real. We just weren't allowed to talk about it. I mean, literally, you had to begin talking in code. We still have to a certain extent, talk in code here. You ever notice why so many of the people you may follow on Rumble or on X aren't on YouTube? Because they can't speak the same, and for some reason, they won't try to get the message out on the biggest platform. Dude, if you talk here, you can still build your audience and say what you need to, but you're going to have to do some wink, and you're going to have to just play the game, just so you can help people understand what the hell's going on. Don't just run. I never ran. I didn't fold up tent and say, you know what, screw YouTube. I'm only going to go over here with a smaller audience. Nope, didn't do that. And I mean some people, the biggest audience in the world was Donald Trump. They shut him down from talking. Imagine that. The woman who said, I didn't have access. I didn't know this was going on. I don't expect you to. They made him shut up. When you guys now at this point, you're getting mad, think back a couple years ago and what you're seeing on X right now, nobody saw a few years ago. Your president was kicked to the curb. Get out. We're not going to let you ever post here ever again. Go away. So if they were willing to do it to the one man, we didn't mean anything. I still can't get on Facebook. Facebook won't even let me log on. Go away. I got your IP. Go. You're not allowed here. You can't play with us. Think about that. Why did they why did they tell so many people, sorry, go away? So it's not your fault that you don't know. Now you should have a insatiable appetite for more. Now, with what you've been made available to you through Nick's video and everything, that just being the surface, now you should be saying, I need to dig into all this. I got some extra spare time tonight. Let me dig into some 17th letter post and see what these people were talking about 6 years ago. Maybe they weren't so crazy after all. I could show you a whole bunch of people. Like, hey, you remember? I remember. It's like going to a speakeasy. And everyone who went through the purge will tell you, I got the same information. They didn't delete it off my computer. But at the same time, what's happening in Europe, where they're arresting you for posting something. How many of you realize that Biden wanted to have the director of misinformation, the czar, where she was going to basically go after you if you posted things? So that the woman who posted and said she didn't have access, I don't doubt her. I don't doubt her. There's been so many new people. I mean, we've got, 350, 60,000 subscribers. Many are new. Maybe you should ask that in the chat. Right now, put in the chat if you were involved heavily in X, or rather Twitter, back in 2016, 2017. And you'll see how few of the people that you talk to right now were even involved back then. It's absolutely crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Telegram, yeah, there's people there. Oh, see, like this is the kind of what I'm talking about. And again, this doesn't mean anything negative because I never watched politics until 2024. So when they're talking about boomers, they're not just talking about boomers. They're talking about people pre 2020 who were knee deep in it because the people who went to the Capitol, those people were people who were seeing it all. The reason they had that righteous anger, the reason that they went there was because they knew what happened. If you are like John here, Jonna, and you weren't paying attention or just didn't avail yourself to things until 2024, you didn't see it. I pray that it all comes out. I think you're starting to see it now. 281,000 people didn't even have to show an ID. But it's going to get bad. It's going to get worse.
The election is very important.
Yes, it is.
So, can you tell us why the Somali communities are very important for the election?
Well, the Somali community is critical. In my own election, I wouldn't be in office without the help of the Somali community.
What? This is Keith Ellison, who's the Attorney General of Minnesota. I wouldn't be in office without the Somali community who ain't supposed to be here. So how did they vote for you? Because you couldn't get in office without them. Riddle me that. Real. Think of what he just said. I would not be in office without the Somali community. So it wasn't the Minnesotans? The people from Minnesota, they weren't important in getting you elected? I wouldn't be in office except for the Somali community. Okay.
Somali voters came out in very large numbers and were able to register people to vote. Very recently I think there was several thousand Somalis who were just naturalized as U.S. citizens.
Yeah.
Somalis can make a huge impact on this election. And I can tell you without a doubt, it's not just in Minnesota that Somalis make a big difference in the election.
I had never seen this one. If I had seen this one, I would have tried to ring the bell. Like, wait a second. We're hoping that the Somalis just don't do stuff in Minnesota, but we're gonna put them all around the country. Never knew that. Where'd they go? What other elections did they get involved in? Do you know? I don't know. And I love it. What I'm seeing here in here is that people are like, yeah, I got booted. See, some of the people that you're even chatting with, you probably didn't know. Now they're telling you, yeah, I got kicked off. Why'd they get kicked off? So I see here some people are actually saying, yeah, I got kicked off because I said this and that. And I'm sure there's some people in chat going, what do you mean kicked off? That's something else that people may not know. You mean there was a time when if they didn't like what you said, they could kick you off? You might just be finding that out. How many of us Trump supporters were told, you can't be here anymore. We don't like your kind. But you like the Somalis, though.
Also in Ohio, which is a battleground state. Somalis that are in Columbus, Ohio, and in Virginia all have a role, an opportunity to play a very big role in this election.
Ohio, you say? Ohio, the Somali community has a big role to play in Ohio. Interesting. These people were only allowed to be here because Biden and Obama brought them in. Now you go back, all the way back when Trump was in office. What was one of the first things Trump did that they went crazy with? Well, he's going to do the Muslim ban. No, I'm just banning people from these countries. I know what they're about to do. Oh, no, we can't have that. We're going to sue. You can't stop these people from coming into our country. I'm the president. I control immigration. Can't do that. Now making sense to you? You may not have followed every single case, but now you understand? Oh, here, let me bring you something more recent. How about something as recent as today that you can wrap your head or hands around? Biden judge Angel Kelly declares herself president. She orders President Trump to keep the South Sudanese migrants in America by extending their temporary protected status. This is what a coup looks like. We need to follow El Salvador President Nayib Bukele's lead, purge the courts, and it stops. So I want some of you guys may not have seen that today. Like, wait a second. Not only I can't let it expire, I have a judge telling me I have to extend these people's temporary status. What's the word temporary mean? How is it temporary if I have to keep doing it? I wrote here, you had to be shown, and I wanted to know if it sounds insurrection-y to you. And Nick had wrote here, a Biden judge orders DHS to extend, quote, temporary protected status for South Sudanese people in the U.S., which was set to expire. Straight up judicial tyranny. This is what happens when judges face no accountability. The DHS and Kristi Noem didn't cut off TPS. Biden set it up so that it was going to expire. He didn't have to do anything. It's just going to go ahead and expire. We're not going to cut off. You can't sue us. We're not the ones cutting it off. You set the deadline for, January 15th or whatever, because it's temporary. So we're just not going to renew it. Nope, you got to renew it. Huh? Huh? You have to extend it. Nobody would have, number one, you probably didn't know that the Sudanese were on a temporary protected status. Understanding what the word temporary is, Sudanese, the Sudan. They were in here because they came here, even though Trump tried to ban people from Sudan, they sued. Certain judges says you can't stop people from coming here, which is exactly what immigration is for. They got all here. They got temporary protective status, which allowed them to do all kinds of crazy stuff. Now it's over, and you're ordering the President of the United States to extend it. So I know some of you guys, that's going to get overturned on appeal. That's not the point. The point is to continue throwing roadblock after roadblock in front of President Trump. The point of you now knowing is because now you can see, as I mentioned yesterday, the lawfare, the judiciary, all the things that they're doing to purposely go against the laws of the United States. That most assuredly is an insurrection. And why is it important for Nick Sortor and Eric and me and other people to talk about this is because you need to know. When the hammer comes down, you're like, yep, I saw it. Yeah, this is some crazy stuff. We cannot let these decisions just go and be on a desk. We have to show people you understand what they're doing here. And it's important that you use your megaphone to tell everybody as well.
So I think many of us are counting on the Somali community to get involved, stay involved, but not just vote. Help others vote.
He just said that. Then they went and wrote the law that says you could bring 8 of your friends to the voting district and just check a box. So this has been in place, and it's been a plan that they've been executing for quite some time, but people didn't know, and now the spotlight's being shown on it. Now you're seeing instead of hearing.
Campaign, we have tremendous leaders. For example, Hibu Isaac, who is a great leader, very articulate, very smart young lady, who is out gathering in Somali voters and other voters to get them to the polls.
Gathering in. I want to ask you a question. How many of you and your friends had to be gathered to go vote? Not me. Robin and I got in the car. We went and voted. I had to gather my neighbors. Hey, did you vote today? Yeah, okay, great. I didn't have to get a school bus. This is part of what they've been doing to create their insurrection. They brought the Somalis in, and then they put them on a bus and bring all your friends, and all of you get to vote for me because it's crucial that the Somalis vote for me. I didn't hear him say St. Paul. I didn't hear him say any of the cities. I didn't hear him say the Italians, the Jamaicans. Nope, it's critical for the Somalis to vote for me. Now get them all on a bus and bring them in.
Also, we have Miriam, who's on our campaign, and others as well. So we believe that the Somali community plays a critical role, not just in Minnesota, but in Ohio and in Virginia.
Oh, didn't know that. He just added Virginia into there as well. You're right. You didn't know. You didn't have access. I didn't either. I'm listening to this and going, oh my goodness. Oh, what a plan you guys had. We just didn't see it. We didn't realize what they were doing. Makes sense now, though, doesn't it?
So call your relatives out there so we can get them to the polls.
Wow.
All right, now, let me show you how deep some of this rot goes. This next piece is about his son. It's going to piss you off. I'm warning you right now, it's going to piss you off.
This morning, Jeremiah Ellison was among the outgoing city council members to get an honorary resolution for their years of service.
So I give my gratitude to the North Side.
But one issue not mentioned, where he's been the final 5 months of his term. Harvard University as a Loeb Fellow. R.J. Coles first broke this story this summer, and it caught some off guard.
His Ward 5 constituents deserve a council member who shows up.
Ellison is splitting his time between here and Cambridge, Massachusetts. He's still earning his $110,000 city salary on top of a $57,000 stipend from Harvard.
Interesting. Did President Trump go after Harvard? Yeah, he did. Some of these universities, the Department of Justice going after, you start to see the puzzles at this point, the grift that these people have been in. You got $110,000 salary for a job you don't go to. You just happen to be the brother of the Attorney General, and you get $60,000 from Harvard. Why in the hell would Harvard be paying you $60,000? Oh yeah, I need some place to live. You make $100,000 from Minnesota for doing nothing, but you need another $60,000 from Harvard. You're not supposed to know this stuff.
Now 5 Investigates has obtained these internal emails showing Ellison's office wanted more. They requested the Ward 5 budget to cover travel expenses, specifically round-trip travel between Minneapolis and Boston.
You make $100,000 plus, you get a $60,000 stipend for whatever it is you want to use the stipend for, and it's still not good enough. You need to cover my round trip travel between Minnesota and Boston, where Harvard is. Dude, with $160,000, you couldn't buy your own plane ticket? You wanted the city to pay for it? Yeah. Okay, good job if you can get it.
So Ellison could attend city council meetings every other week from August to the end of the year. In response to Ellison's request, the city clerk acknowledged the prestigious program, but said it's a personal professional development opportunity, and travel for this purpose is not allowed.
It's very disconcerting.
We sat down with 2 very engaged Ward 5 residents.
As a retired math teacher, I can't imagine asking my students to pay for me to commute to and from school.
See, you can't imagine it because you're a good person. You can't imagine it because you didn't grow up in the grift. You can't imagine it because your brother's not the Attorney General. It's unfathomable that ordinary people look at this stuff and go, you did what? You expected us to pay this and this on top of all this other stuff for a job you're not even showing up, and you're not even allowed to talk about it? The Democrat Party doesn't exist. It is a complete mirage. It only is there to funnel money and access and power. And the more it gets revealed, the more the plug pulls out the back of the head from the Matrix, the more people should be looking at this and going, this is wow. Wow. Beyond wow.
We are his constituents.
I also am glad that the city rejected that request.
Ellison has long maintained he can do both, even from afar. But fellow council members kicked him off most committees. Here's what he told our Eric Shalou in September.
You'll certainly see me at council meetings, barring some kind of emergency, but you'll certainly see me at full council.
But our review of council attendance records shows he's missed 5 of the 11 meetings ever since he's accepted that Harvard fellowship.
I want you to think of something, that you get a job that's paying you $100,000 plus a year. You're getting $60,000 from Harvard. You only show up half the time you're supposed to be there. And the worst part about it is you expected them to give you more because you didn't want to fly back and forth. Then I'd say the cherry on top is you have no embarrassment. You're willing to talk to a reporter and just say, this is normal. I'm Keith Ellison's brother. The normality of the insanity, which I guess we can attribute to the same stuff that's happening with the, going in different locker rooms, if you know what I mean, is because they have no embarrassment. They have no mirrors in their houses. They don't care that you think you're scamming us. I don't care. That's what I do. Give me the money. Any normal person would be like, hey, excuse me, I don't want to answer the questions right now. I got to get to this city council meeting. No, they don't care. They don't care that you know, because they don't think that you actually will remember the entire breadcrumbs that are being laid here.
Now, I was at that city council this morning, that meeting, but was only able to talk to Ellison via text message, where he called this story flimsy, a hit piece, and refused to do an interview unless I could prove that this was somehow in the public's interest. By the way, he appeared to defend that request, saying the travel was related to his urban planning-related education and urban planning-related job. His term ends in January.
Well, he's got, 3 or 4 days left. And brazen. Absolutely brazen. Now, you guys, for the most part, probably don't pay taxes in Minnesota, so you're like, we dodge a bullet there. But it's probably happening someplace near you. And if you lived in Minnesota and you're watching this, yep, you're getting hosed. And I still don't understand why Harvard's paying a grown-ass man making $100,000 a year $60,000. But that's what we got to deal with. Let's continue.
Crackdown in Minnesota over potential fraud is ramping up on multiple fronts now. Not only do you have DHS and FBI agents on the ground, but the Small Business Administration is now halting all federal funding to the state after identifying $430 million in PPP loans in Minnesota that are suspected of fraud.
December 30th, the Small Business Administration cuts off loans to the Somali people. So are you telling me from January to now, you've been continuing to pay the Somalis until Nick Shirley's story blew up? Is that what we're supposed to understand from this? Because it just happened today. This is from today. The Small Business Association, based on Nick's story, said, hey, now we have to hit the pause button here. Well, then why are you still paying these people? Now you're going to look into it?
As we've been reporting, these concerns over fraud, particularly in the child care space in Minneapolis, go back more than a decade, including these surveillance videos that were part of a case prosecuted by Hennepin County back in 2015. The video shows parents checking their kids into a daycare and then walking back out with them minutes later. Our Minneapolis Fox station reported that sometimes the kids wouldn't even show up, and that either way, the businesses would bill the state for a full day of services.
He did just say a video from 2015. I'm pretty sure. Yep, I'm looking at a surveillance video from 2015. I'm sorry. I'll have to call you back. A surveillance video from 2015. A video that somebody knew somewhere that they were fraudulently pretending like they were going into the daycare and turning around. 2015. Okay.
This other video shows parents then allegedly receiving envelopes of cash as kickbacks from the owners. The state is responding to these latest allegations of fraud at child care centers, claiming that it's already investigated many of the businesses in Nick Shirley's viral video.
Okay, you're going to love this next part. So this guy from Fox goes to them and said, hey, well, this looks really bad. And we're finding stuff from 2015. We're finding out stuff, all kinds of crazy stuff. What are you guys going to do about it?
So there have been ongoing investigations with several of those centers. None of those investigations uncovered findings of fraud.
This is the proverbial fox is guarding the hen house. Oh, we couldn't find anything. How did you look? Where did you look? I don't know. In the suitcases going out of the airport. The very next day, this was today. Hey, we can't find any fraud. We just showed you. Where did you look? They're covering for everything, and wait till you hear what she says later on.
One of the centers, Quality Learning Center, closed just over a week ago.
With those claims is that the manager of the Quality Learning Center says they never closed, and they are even open now, and that the state agency was putting out false information. All of this is raising more questions about the credibility of the state agencies who are supposed to be overseeing these programs that are now being investigated.
The fundamental problem here is that we have a governor and an administration that has totally broken its trust with the people of Minnesota. So it's very difficult for any Minnesotan, and it's very difficult for us to take at face value anything that the Walz administration says on this topic.
As all of these investigations continue, Attorney General Pam Bondi says the Justice Department has now charged 98 individuals in Minnesota with fraud. 85 of them are Somalis, and she says more prosecutions are on the way.
All right, so people who say she's not doing anything, she's doing something. But I before I reach out and pat her on the back, what I want to point out to you is if this has been going on since just the videos you've seen today, that this has been going on since 2014 at minimum. How big of a staff would you need to just be looking at this crime? Just the Somalis in Minnesota and the mountain of data that you would have to go through to even charge a single person. And then you got to check the remittances and who's been sending money across the country. It's insane. President Trump, with his own people, walked into an absolute quagmire, and now we've got people on our side screaming, do something. I'm doing something. I'm drowning in quicksand is what I'm doing. This grift, this criminality, this scam is so widespread, I don't even think she knew how bad it was. And every single day, something else is popping up. And meanwhile, you got judges saying, nope, keep it going. We're in big trouble. We are in really big trouble. And there is no way to vote. Forget the polls. If there's another election, we're done as a country. I want you to understand it right now. We're done. The military truly is the only way. You're seeing it by the day now and going, this is just too much. And it gets worse. Oh, trust me, it gets worse.
Trump administration is asking for data from all the states on SNAP recipients. I think 29 have said yes, mainly Republican states. Wisconsin has said no. Why not give the data to see if there's any bad apples or fraud within the system?
Well,
This is the governor of Wisconsin, I believe, or Ohio, Ewers. Listen to him fumble over this answer. Why not just give the data to the government? You're spending the government's money. You're spending taxpayer dollars. Why shouldn't we be able to see what's going on? And he's going to vomit all over this guy.
That system is analyzed every single year, and we feel confident in it. So, the idea.
We've analyzed it every single year, so we feel confident. That's not going to cut it. We don't trust you. We need to verify. We need to see where the money's going, and you're saying, it's okay, we already did our investigation. Oh, criminals covering for other criminals, and that's what we're supposed to take as gospel? We already took care of it. Everything's fine.
Yeah, that they're asking for this information. They're looking for ways to get out of doing it, frankly, and that is inappropriate. I mean, we have people in the state of Wisconsin that need help making sure they're having nutritious meals, and so we feel the program right now is working just fine.
Did he answer the question? I guess he did. We feel it's okay. We feel we're doing fine. We've been managing our own stuff, and there's nothing to see here, folks. Nothing to see here. That's Ewers from Wisconsin. Nothing to see here. We're our own traffic cops here. We don't need you. Why wouldn't you turn the data over? Well, unfortunately, it's not going to be his decision anymore.
Federal judge has ruled that.
Wait, I said unfortunately? No, fortunately, it's no longer going to be his decision.
The Trump administration may resume sharing limited Medicaid data with Immigration and Customs Enforcement starting next month. A U.S. district judge said federal law allows the transfer of basic information such as addresses, dates of birth, and immigration status about undocumented immigrants receiving state-funded health benefits. The decision is definitely a win for Trump's deportation agenda and a setback for California and the 21 other states that sued to block that practice.
So right now, you're probably thinking the same thing I'm thinking. I thought you told me there were no illegal immigrants on Medicaid. Ergo, why would you not want to show the data? And obviously, you lied. Big, huge lie. Now, you're going to be shown the data. You, me, we're all going to see it. There's a reason why 21 or 28 states, whatever it was, didn't want anyone to see this data. And now you are going to see it. Judge sizes with Trump. The Trump administration can share with ICE the Medicaid data for illegals receiving taxpayer benefits. Yep, Eric, you're right. I was told 0 of them get welfare. Obviously, that's not true. Again, the Democrat Party doesn't exist. It's all lies and shenanigans. Turn it all over and deport them all. 0 Medicaid for them. So what's now going to happen, obviously, it's not going to happen tomorrow because they're going to appeal it. They are obviously going to go now appeal it to the appellate court and say he doesn't need to see this data. So again, it's not a matter of winning the case. It's a matter of showing you today on December 30th, you now know they are fighting Trump tooth and nail to prevent him from getting the data to see what's there. Now you see it, because it makes no sense. Why would you not show it? You're taking money from the federal government. We need to be able to look and see, make sure the bad people aren't getting money. Ooh, can't do that. What do you mean? No. What do you mean we can't see it? So I'm going to go a step further. They already know. You see, President Trump didn't do this not knowing. President Trump knew specifically because he was there already. He knows there's a ton of people there getting Medicaid and other benefits. How do they know? Well, before he was president, and how do they know even further now? I wish I had the Jeopardy music thing. He knows because yesterday I showed you Doge found 2 million Social Security numbers from people who weren't supposed to be here who are now pulling benefits. There's your Doge connection. Oh, Doge didn't do anything and Trump's not doing anything with Doge. How did he know to go and ask the governors for this information? Because now you know he knows it. Something else he knows. Let me just show you this if I can. I forgot to pull it up. And the more you see these things, the more you begin to realize these aren't about winning cases. You need to dig and realize now, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, Elon and Antonio showed me yesterday that there were at least 2 million fake Social Security numbers given to newcomers who were on Social Security, one benefit, and now they already know and they can tie them into all of the other benefits. All of them. Let me check here. I don't think SV is back in town yet, so I doubt this was from SV. Let me just see. No. All right. Now you know it. Now you've seen it. You've seen it. Let me show you something else you should see. The Trump administration is suing Virginia for giving in-state tuition to newcomers. The lawsuit says federal law prohibits states from providing aliens who are not lawfully present in the United States with any post-secondary education benefit that is denied to the U.S. citizen. See USC 1623. There are no exceptions. Virginia violates it nonetheless. This court should put an end to this and permanently enjoin the enforcement and provisions of the Virginia Education Code that directly conflict with federal immigration law. So they know that Virginia and their colleges are giving student loans and benefits to people who aren't supposed to be in the country. How do they know? Linda McMahon already has the student loan data. But I can't tell you because if I just came out in a press conference and said Virginia's doing this and doing that, they would quickly just go, oh, it's a lie. All right, since it's, let's sue you. Show it. Prove it. Let me see the data, which every reasonable person with a thinking mind at this point has to say to themselves, yeah, who's getting scholarships? And why are people who don't live in Virginia being afforded in-state tuition? Let that compound. In addition to reducing the tuition, meaning you're getting in-state tuition, we're also going to pay it for you because we need your vote. This scam goes so big in so many different ways. And in addition, it'll smoke out a judge. Let's see what happens with this. Let's see if there's some district court judge that'll try to overrule it and say, no, you can't have that data, which he probably already has. Between Linda McMahon and Doge, they already know who's been getting student loans and all kinds of Pell Grants and everything. And it ain't you.
Meanwhile, ICE agents deployed across the U.S. have been accused in recent months of aggressive, unchecked actions, including detaining people without cause and holding detainees without legal access. Our next guest says many of their tactics are illegal and violate constitutional protections. Joining us now is former federal judge Nancy Gertner. She is a professor of law at Harvard University and the author of a new
Harvard
piece for The Atlantic with the headline, Why the Supreme Court is Giving ICE So Much Power. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. Let's start right there. That's been a subject of great mystery and frankly, consternation on this show. Joe has really weighed in on this, and he just can't imagine why the Supreme Court is allowing ICE to act the way it does. We've gone over quite a bit about Justice Kavanaugh claiming, well, even if you're a U.S. citizen and you're briefly detained by ICE, it's a minor inconvenience, but yet we have example after example after example when it most certainly is not. So what are some of your theories here? Why is the Supreme Court being so permissive when it comes to ICE?
Okay. Many of you, like me, may have at some point been pulled over by a police officer. You know, most of us just go along with it. Hey, here's my license, my registration, and my insurance. But there have been times, me personally, have been, not because of my color of my skin, but have been pulled over because by accident. Robin, when she was a younger woman, her and her friends were out night partying, and they got pulled over and got taken out of the car by gunpoint and told to lay face down because somebody who had committed a murder was driving a very similar car. I used to laugh with her. I'm like, it's like my cousin Vinny. But things happen. And the other thing is with a police officer, and if Maximus was here, he could probably, underscore this, is I don't have time right now to determine who is and who isn't a citizen. I'm in a situation, there's people around out here, I don't know what's going on. All I need you to do is do what I tell you. And they're acting like this is something weird, that people don't get sometimes detained by accident until they can prove everybody is who they say they are. So this is another part of their big lie by trying to say that ICE is detaining people, which I don't understand how this dovetailed from the fact of the matter that we can now look at the ICE data, but they're trying to basically tamp down that story.
Let me set the table a little bit here. Think about this. Only 5 years ago, the streets were filled with people that were dealing with police reform. It was after the George Floyd killing. And we spent a long time talking about police reform. The irony is at this moment, we have checked one police force only to have created another one that seems to act with impunity. How did this happen? Well, back in 1984 and then in 1922, Supreme Court issued two decisions. One decision was about whether or not illegally obtained evidence could be introduced into court. If a police officer gets evidence illegally, arrests illegally, searches your house, sweeps and gets stuff that he or she doesn't have a right to get, that material is suppressed in court. And the idea is
the problem that she's having with her conflation here is the crime precedes everything else. And what I mean by that is if a police officer or detective or something goes in and they're looking around your house and they see, some blood or something, they can, go further and think there's a crime. They're trying to see what happened here. The fact that you get pulled over and you're not supposed to be here, the crime's already been shown. They're not digging further. Hey, what's your name? I'm Abadu. And Abadu, where are you from? Somalia. You're not supposed to be here, are you, Abadu? I can't see any information on you. All right. I don't need to go any further. The Democrats are beside themselves because they can't understand how, at this point, things are changing. So, all right. Now I'm going to show you something that's really going to piss you off. And it goes back to the thing I showed you. Where was it? About the real estate. All right, you ready for this?
There were over 12 million illegal aliens that came over the border, straining our housing supply and making the costs go up. And so we work with Secretary Noem at DHS, as you alluded to make sure that only American citizens are living in HUD-funded housing. We also took away FHA-backed mortgages from illegal aliens during the Biden administration. They turned a blind eye. But we're going to keep the law to make sure that these mortgages, which are backed by the taxpayer, go only to the American people. And lastly, we are mandating that every public housing authority give us a comprehensive account who's living in every unit in taxpayer HUD-funded housing.
Wow. Another.
All right, so notice what the push at this point is with the Trump administration. They are going into local government that they are funding and saying, since we're giving you the money, we need to see all this stuff. And it's freaking the Democrats out because now they have to actually provide data. You want the money? This is what we want. And we want to know where these Section 8 tenants are living, because we need to know where they're living. And at the same token, now that we know where they're living, we need to find out if they're supposed to be even beyond Section 8. Well, here's the problem. We'll take them off Section 8. You won't have to worry about it because they're not supposed to be in the country. This is all beginning to compound very, very quickly. President Trump posted something on True Social that is underscoring what I've been telling you today. President Trump says liberal activist judges are waging war against Trump. It's a the Hill article. Truly, what else can Trump have thrown at him by the left? Laying that groundwork, laying all of the seeds out there for you to be able to see it. No more talking. You must see it. So I've been seeing people in the chat saying, "Well, something's got to do something." Well, what are you doing? He's showing you all of this so that he can do what he's going to do, and people will actually understand and support it. This is not going to be easy. I'll get into that in a second.
Actually gave us another impact of that wide open border. Absolutely.
Before I let you go, I want to ask you about this massive fraud out in Minnesota in the state welfare program. Has been under federal investigation since all the way back in 2022. The president told you, though, this week to look into Somalis who, quote, ripped off that state for billions of dollars. He said they contribute nothing. What exactly are you investigating?
Well, Margaret, to be clear, the initial fraud that was discovered by the IRS, for which I'm the acting commissioner, is discovered by IRS Criminal Investigations Unit. This was not an endogenous thing that the state of Minnesota decided we had to go in and clean up the mess for them, and this is part of the continued cleanup. A lot of money has been transferred from the individuals who committed this fraud, including those who donated to the governor, donated to Representative Omar, and donated to A.G. Ellison, but they've been transferred to something called MBSs. And those are
mortgage-backed security. What do you mean?
Sorry.
Transferred to what?
These are money the Bureau services, and they are wire transfer organizations that are outside the regulated banking system, and that money has gone overseas. And we are tracking that both to the Middle East and to Somalia to see what the uses of that have been.
She has no idea what she's talking about right now. He's got her right where he wants to. And you can tell as she asks her next couple of questions, she's realizing she's hoping someone is talking in her ear and bail me out here. I didn't think this was going to go this way. My thing was I was going to try and lay it out there that this was a bad investigation, that it was no big deal. It's been going on since 2022. See, that's the thing I keep hearing. Oh, it's been going on for forever. Shouldn't that be the reason to fix it? Just because something has been going on for quite some time and somebody decides now to fix it, shouldn't that be the reason enough? There are so many people on the right, even in our chat, who are like, do something. You're not seeing it? You're not seeing it being done? You haven't seen today, just in today's video, the different things that are happening? Let's go ahead and stop the University of Virginia from giving discounts and loans and grants to people who aren't supposed to be here. Scott Turner from HUD, we're going to dig in and find out where this Section 8 money is going. We want to know who. We're going to get the data from the Medicare from each state, Medicaid from each state, and we're going to find out who's been getting the benefits and why they're getting the benefits. When you say nothing is happening, you're not paying attention. just in the time we've been here together, and thank you for tuning in, I'm showing you stuff that's happening. I still got more stuff to show you what's happening. And yet people still say nothing's happening. Why?
Okay, but you have no evidence of that money being used to fuel terrorism at this point, which is what some conservative writers are alleging.
You got no evidence, do you? You mean that 100 million in suitcases? They say these things on television because they know the people watching are idiots. You now have seen so much evidence. There's no kids. They've been doing this stuff for 8-9 years. Oh, you don't have any evidence? Yeah, I got lots of evidence.
That's why it's an investigation. We started it last week. We'll see where it goes. But I can tell you that, it's terrible. Representative Omar tried to downplay it, said, oh, it was very, it was very tough to know how this money should be used. Yeah. She was gaslighting the American people.
Well, we'll talk to her.
Yeah, but when you come to this country, you got to learn which side of the road to drive on. You got to learn to stop at stop signs, and you got to learn not to defraud the American people.
Well, there are plenty of criminal behavior from communities well beyond the immigrant community. But
Americans commit crimes too. That's when you knew she was stunned. He hit her with a right cross, and she actually had nothing to say other than, well, people here do it. Let me just go back 10 seconds so you guys can hear that again, because sometimes just hearing people when they blah, 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 he tells her what they're doing, and her only response is, well, Americans do it too.
It was very tough to know how this money should be used. Yeah. She was gaslighting the American people.
Well, we'll talk to her.
Yeah, but when you come to this country, you got to learn which side of the road to drive on. You got to learn to stop at stop signs, and you got to learn not to defraud the American people.
Well, there are plenty of criminal behavior from communities well beyond the immigrant community. But we'll talk about this with Representative Omar shortly. Thank you, Mr. Secretary.
Good.
What did that even mean? How does it matter if Fred from Idaho robbed a bank? What does it have to do with the main crux of our problem? The main crux of our problem is there's 20 million, 10 million, whatever the million people are who aren't supposed to be here, who are stealing from Americans. So unless you can come up with a whole bunch of white people who are stealing Medicaid, what in the hell did that statement even mean? Well, there's a whole lot of people here being criminals too. They're supposed to be here. How about we have our first prima facie crime? You're not even supposed to be in a country. I don't need to look any further. You need to get the hell out. That was the most idiotic statement I ever heard from anyone in the news business.
Right now, Republican lawmakers are asking Minnesota's Democratic Governor Tim Walz to resign after renewed focus on a state fraud investigation. A viral YouTube video by a creator who has shared anti-immigrant and anti-Muslim videos in the past.
He shared anti-Muslim and anti-immigrant videos in the past. What in the hell does that have to do with anything? Except for trying to further gaslight your audience. They led with that. This guy has posted videos we don't approve of. Okay, what was the video about? Notice, he went right there. They're terrified. They know what's coming. You should know what's coming.
Put a major national spotlight on the investigation. The video claims Somali-run child care centers in Minnesota are committing widespread fraud and provides limited evidence to support the allegations. It was a video that was amplified by Vice President J.D. Vance, Attorney General Pam Bondi, and Elon Musk. Now, the FBI and DHS say they are surging resources into Minnesota, including at those child care centers. CNN's Whitney Wild is in Minneapolis. And Whitney, what are you hearing from officials there?
Well, there's one agency saying basically today that they are concerned about some of the tactics that the video shows, but at the same time, they take all allegations of fraud seriously. This has been a problem in Minnesota for many, many years. You
see the repeating refrain that I'm not the one doing this, that they are actually admitting, yeah, it's been around for quite some time. So if you had a serial killer, are you going to say, hey, he's been killing people for a long time? Like, it's no big deal. Yeah, this is what they've been doing. This has been going on for quite some time. What's the big deal? Well, it's because it's our money. I cannot believe I've watched news people in the last couple days come out and actually say it's not a big deal because it's been going on for quite some time. That's more of an indictment on the government than anything else. Why was nobody watching the hen house? Why was nobody doing any of the background checks and the vetting? Why today on December 29th and December 30th, why are you now sitting back and saying, yeah, but this has been going on for quite some time? That doesn't make it any better. In fact, it makes it worse. You see, the problem is you don't even want to be in the cold Minnesota weather, except it's this kid, this 23-year-old YouTuber, he posted something, so now we got to cover it because everybody's all up in arms and they don't realize this has been going on forever. And they don't even think what they're saying. You're not even understanding that you're admitting to the American public that this fraud, this scam has been going on for quite some time. And even worse, by inference, you knew. You're a major news network, and Margaret Brennan, you knew. Like we knew. I can't tell you the level of vindication many people are feeling right about now. The righteous anger in vindication because we weren't allowed to even talk about what we had seen. A lot of this stuff that you're seeing today, people have been, indeed, like she just said, it's been going, we all knew. I didn't know to this extent. I didn't know anything about the daycare centers. I did know about the voting. I knew that that's how Elon Omar got in. I know that they're doing that. I didn't know they were getting gazillions of dollars for fake daycare centers. That's a new scam to me.
Look it up yourself. There are stories about, alleged fraud at daycares stretching as far back as 2015. There were a round of indictments back then. Fraud continues to simply plague the Minneapolis area and Minnesota at large. There have been, in recent years, Phil, dozens of indictments, at least 80 for various types of fraud, COVID relief fraud.
Does this bother you? Does this bother you as an American to find out that the news has known that this stuff has been going on for quite some time? The news has kept it from you. Twitter, pre-Elon Musk, didn't allow you to talk about it. Facebook, before Trump got reelected, would boot you if you started talking about these things. Of course they had to cheat in the 2020 election because everybody knew what was going on the same way they know what happened with the election. So when people are mad and they're saying nothing's happening, you're not getting it. You're not understanding. You can be as pissed off as you want to be, but we can't vote our way out of this. So the only thing, when you say nothing's happening, well, number one, we showed you a bunch. I'm going to show you something else as well that just came out, breaking news. But it is happening, maybe not to your satisfaction, but there's no way we're going to vote our way out of this.
Other types of housing fraud, and federal officials basically call this like an ongoing fraud investigation. If you look, the latest press release from the U.S. Attorney's Office here in Minnesota says 6 more indictments in this ongoing fraud investigation. So this has been going on for quite some time. Local news has been all over this, producing award-winning series on fraud issues in Minnesota. But even still, it wasn't until, as you point out, that video that this fraud fraud issue in Minnesota really exploded. I mean, that video from Nick Shirley has more than 115 million views. It has now caught the attention of very powerful voices in America. Here,
imagine being a part of a giant gazillion-dollar news organization and some YouTuber who's 23, 24 years old just kicked your ass. What that must make the people at NBC and CNBC, all the big networks, how must it make you feel that this kid drove out there with a GoPro or whatever he had, knocked down some doors, made a video, he got 100 million views, more than your primetime gets in a week, and you all knew about it, we just didn't cover it. And so, yes, he put a spotlight on something. And if you think about it for an instant, this wasn't probably that hard for him, because if everybody in Minnesota knew it was going on, all it took was someone to say, hey, you need to come out here and make a video. Why? What's going on? They're stealing like billions. And now they're spawning a legion of Nick Shirleys. Everybody's digging in. They're creating algorithms. Oh, AI has been fantastic. AI is going through and finding all these daycare centers, these autistic centers. People are going out, knocking on doors, to the point where some people on the left said, shoot them. Yes, they actually came out and said, stand your ground if somebody knocks on the door. You don't even want people asking questions. You would rather people get shot than have things exposed. I don't know who this young woman is, but it's just kind of interesting to me. And what you have to wonder, how do you feel, ma'am? How do you feel knowing that your network sent you out there and you're doing a story, and the only thing you can say about this is that it's been going on for quite some time? But now we know, we've seen it. That's the big difference. You've seen it.
Minnesota, we are asking leaders what is going on and what the impact of that video has. So here's our interview with Speaker Lisa DeButh. She is a Republican, and explained to us why it is so important for a national spotlight to be shined here on Minnesota.
They're state dollars, but a lot of these programs have federal dollars in them too. So
That's the big reason. So Tim Walz and everybody in Minnesota, you're in big trouble because it has federal dollars in it as well. It's not state money. That's huge. But stick around. I got a couple more things, segments to show you. And then we're also I got to show you some breaking news.
Jonathan, as always, great to see you and good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Bill.
So we just heard it in Garrett's report there. Minnesota officials say they've looked into some of these centers in that now viral video. They found no fraud. And Jonathan, they're still being paid. Take a listen to what they had to say.
Even Jonathan just had to chuckle. This was the second part of this woman's interview. I don't know who she gave the interview with, but this is what should piss you off. You ready? Let's listen.
Each of the facilities mentioned in the video has been visited at least once in the last 6 months as part of our typical licensing process. For the current child care centers that have been named in the video, we have not paused. There isn't a current pause on any of their payments. As we gain more information from the folks that are out visiting today and gathering additional information, that may change. But currently, there is no pause on any of the those individual centers.
100 million people just watched the video of arguably huge fraud, and the people running things in Minnesota, that's not enough. We haven't paused anything. We're still paying them. They're still getting your money. But they weren't even open. It doesn't matter. We're still sending the money. How could you possibly see what's happened, see what's been exposed, and then go on television and say, well, we're not pausing any of the money? You don't want to do a safety check and just go, hey, hold on a second, we need to get some of this information. Nope. We're going to keep paying them. Really? Is that what you want Americans to hear? Again, if you had made more than $600 in your Venmo account because you sold something on Etsy, they want to make sure you disclose that. But the Minnesota Department of Human Services is saying, nope, not enough. We're going to keep paying them. We'll see what comes out when we finish the investigation.
Jonathan, it's kind of hard to believe, but they haven't even paused those payments to maybe look into it a little bit further. Give us your thoughts.
Well, the surge of federal resources into Minnesota is going to help a great deal. The fact is you can't have this extensive level of alleged fraud without interstate criminal activity. Most of this is interstate. They're using wires and phones, and they're transporting out of state. So the feds have a basis to go in there. In addition to the fact that some of this is playing with federal money. If Minnesota wants to burn billions, then do that if that's what they want to do. But they can't do that if it's a federal crime, and they sure can't do that with federal money. And when Governor Walz says, well, I've been trying to get more authority, fraud's been illegal for a long time.
Fraud has been illegal for a long time. Yep, there's an understatement for you. But we're going to keep sending them the money. We get it out the door. It's the end of the year. Pay, pay, pay. It reminds me of Wally the Nigerian. We never stop sending money. Unless there's an actual court order. Oh, the court order has to be from a court or a judge that we approve of. Otherwise, we're going to appeal it. And while it's waiting for the appeal, we're going to keep sending them the money. I think that's the most egregious thing I heard in all of this. Even worse than all the stuff that Nick Shirley's video put out there. That's the worst thing I've heard. You saw people's reactions. You saw the video. You saw everything. And you came back in the office on Monday and said, yeah, whatever. Just keep paying them.
You've been and there have been some prosecutions in the past. This isn't a lack of authority. This appears to be a lack of interest, impulse, a lack of effort by state regulators and prosecutors. So we'll see what the feds come up with here. But Minnesota is really looking at a mountain of hurt coming down on them because this is getting worse by the day.
See, that's the part that's kind of stunning. Nick Shirley goes out and makes a video. The video explodes. Everybody's eyeballs are on the video, 100 million. Everybody is seeing what's going on. People are digging at this point, writing algorithms, going through. The site is taken down because they don't want people looking anymore. The woman's still paying off the invoices. You guys are in the conspiracy at this point, the RICO charge that must be. I don't see how Tim Walz walks away from this. I don't see how Keith Ellison walks away from this. You're the flippin' attorney general and you haven't arrested people in your own state? Why? Why?
I want to speak to the humanitarian landscape. 375,000 people on the brink of starvation. And at this critical moment, both the SAF and RSF, as you all have said, engaged in the willful obstruction of humanitarian assistance using starvation as a weapon of war. And so, Ms. Wittersheim, could you speak about why armed actors are specifically targeting humanitarian workers in this conflict and the leverage points that you think that this administration, this Congress can use to secure increased access for those humanitarian workers?
PayPal here, in the midst of all this going on, is trying to find a way to send more money to Sudan. She had the cojones to ask for more money for some country people can't identify on a map. They have no mirrors in their homes. They don't have any off switch. Everything they do is about destroying America and taking your money. I don't even know how I could go and ask anybody for money if with what we know right now.
Would say over the course of working and learning and trying to respond or help with the U.S. policy on Sudan for so many years, food has often and for generations been a weapon in Sudan.
I don't want to seem insensitive. I don't give a F about Sudan right now. Why are we even talking about Sudan? I am sorry if they can't eat, but they're their own country. We have people in America who, and it's supposed to be cold the next couple of days, who are probably going to freeze and die because they can't pay for heat. Never mind getting money to eat for food. And we're talking about sending money to Sudan? Are you insane? Or just do not care?
The Bashir government used it against South Sudan. They cut off airdrops and they manipulated food aid. There's probably not one militia or armed actor in Sudan, and at the time South Sudan, when it was still one country, that hasn't learned how to use food as a weapon against their people. So this is a common, tried and true tactic to also cut off humanitarian assistance. And frankly, to Ken's point and to what I think is getting recognized clearly by the committee, that humanitarian assistance isn't a political solution, but it does kind of keep the international community fixated on the humanitarian and not doing the hard work on the political solution. Sure.
I don't know what's up with liberal white women. I can't figure it out. You got people, I don't even know, well, she's in Washington probably. You got people in cities all over the country. We just went through Christmas. You know, we all have, toy drives and things at our churches. There are people here who are hurting, and you have the audacity to talk about sending money to Sudan? I guess you have to have the government money, because if you didn't have the government money, nobody would give us rats behind. Let's take care of America. Nope. We got to ship the money over to some warlord. And we know why.
Really do need both, as you said. Yeah. I think that these armed actors are doing this now because they've always done it. And this is a way in which they get control and they get the population to bend to their will. They get them to move. The RSF has been very fixated on ethnic cleansing. And if you starve people, if they can, they will walk away. That's and they will walk into Chad.
All right, so you guys can raise your hand and let me know which one of you wants to send money to Sudan. Not me. I don't want to give Sudan a dime. Not a dime. Wow.
That no one is being held accountable, that this was just let to run rampant is completely false.
Well, some people have been held accountable, but I think in the opinion of most Republicans, not nearly enough. And truthfully, until somebody in a position of power, until somebody in a position in Minnesota, elected position, who was in charge of administering this or having some oversight over it goes to jail, it's honestly never going to stop. Look what's going on in blue states across the country. $9 billion in Minnesota, $70 billion in fraud in California, cooking the crime stats in Washington, D.C. When is someone in a position of power going to go to jail for the rampant fraud? Hold on a second. What I am telling you, though, is in the case of these states and locales, this is public money, taxpayer money. Sure. People get elected. They're supposed to run these programs.
The DOJ is doing their job every single day.
And they are. The Medicaid program is run by the state.
The DOJ is prosecuting
bragged about putting more money into this daycare system that is obviously rife with fraud.
Dan.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Abby, you look stupid. But fortunately, Abby does not look more stupid than this 12-second clip I want to show you. This 12-second clip you're about to see is from the Lieutenant Governor of Minnesota. As you watch this 12-second clip, I want you to watch the eyes of what the person is who's obviously her handler as she looks at her. All right, this is, you might throw up here.
With the Somali community to be with you and to do all I can to return the friendship and community that the Somali community has shown me. Thank you so much.
I got no words. I have no words for you. These people are definitely being held captive. There's no way that a white woman from Minnesota would have a hijab on. And the earlier one was the mayor who was reciting everything in Somali. This is really bad. If you didn't think there was an invasion, now you know there is. But for everybody who says nothing's happening, I got about 4 minutes of stuff to show you. Oh, it's happening, all right. It's definitely happening. Breaking news. RFK Jr. has stopped all child care payments to Minnesota effective immediately due to the ongoing fraud. Interesting. All payments done. Minnesota, you got nada. You get nothing. But more so, I want you to hear this. This is a 2-minute video, and it's pretty important.
Hello, I'm HHS Deputy Secretary Jim O'Neill. I'm here with Assistant Secretary Alex Adams. Alex oversees the Administration for Children and Families. Intrepid journalists have made shocking and credible allegations of extensive fraud in Minnesota's child care programs. We believe the state of Minnesota has allowed scammers and fake daycares to siphon millions of taxpayer dollars over the past decade.
My office, ACF, provides Minnesota $185 million in child care funds each year. That money should be helping 19,000 American children, including toddlers and infants. Any dollar stolen by fraudsters is stolen from those children. Yesterday, I spoke directly with the director of the Minnesota Child Care Services Office. She could not tell me with confidence whether those allegations of fraud are isolated or whether there's fraud stretching statewide.
Today, we have taken 3 direct actions against the blatant fraud that seems to be rampant in Minnesota. First, I have activated our Defend the Spend system for all ACF child care payments across America. Starting today, we require a justification, receipt, or photo evidence before we make a payment. Second, I have just signed and sent a demand letter to Governor Walz. I required a full 360 review of these centers. This includes attendance records, licenses, complaints, investigations, and inspections.
And third, we've launched a dedicated fraud reporting hotline and email address at childcare.gov. Whether you're a parent, a provider, a member of the public, we want to hear from you. Let me be crystal clear. ACF expects every state to uphold the highest standards of oversight, monitoring, and accountability for federal dollars. Minnesota is no exception.
We're committed to holding bad actors accountable. Regardless of rank or office, anyone who's involved in perpetrating this fraud against the American people should expect to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
Produced by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
All right, so there it is. RFK Jr. has thrown down the gauntlet and said, you get no more nothing. You're done. SBA, no more business loans. HUD, no more housing loans. In addition, we need all the data on every single person who's gotten Medicaid. In addition, we need all the data on every single person who has gotten Section 8 housing. That should tell you things are indeed happening. The do nothing crowd cannot say that. This is within, I'd say, 48 hours? Bam! All child care payments done. You can count along with me. Bam! All Section 8 housing done. Bam! All SBA loans canceled. That's doing a lot. And now the law enforcement is the part that'll dig in to find out where that money went. But as of right now, at 6:25 on, what is today? Tuesday? The 30th of December, it's begun. Now, somebody had put in the chat, well, they'll just run to some district court judge. Oh, I'm sure at probably 6:02 when that came out, by 6:10, they probably had paperwork filed to go to a district court judge who's going to say you got to keep paying them. But now you know what to look for. You know that is, it's funny, you said it. Oh, they're going to go to a district court judge. Yep, you're right. Now, with everything you've seen in the last 2 days, you know full well this has to stop. You see the Trump administration turning off the spigot, and you already know yourself what's going to happen next. You didn't know that in January. So everybody who says nothing's happening, obviously things are happening. You can see it. Couldn't tell you. Everyone has said it. Oh, it's been going on for years, but now you see it. Now this kid goes out there and does a video that gets 100 million views, and now you see it. Now everybody's talking about it. Excuse me. That's what had to happen. Before he drops the hammer in the way we want the hammer dropped, he has to get people to the point where I can't take it anymore. I'm done. Do what you got to do. Stop it. And I think at this point, we are all at 9, if not 10. We're all right here. We weren't there in January. We're here now. We are effing pissed. We are done with these people. We are done with the Democrats. We're done with these judges. We're done with the media. We're done with the Democrats. We're done with the rhinos. Do what you got to do. Now he's got your permission. Now, as you're going out on X or Facebook, now you need to tell everybody you know. We're done. That's it. Do what you need to do. Do it. We weren't there in January. None of what we're seeing right now did anybody know in January and February. You weren't at 9. Some of you probably already at 10. You weren't there. You were glory. You were having fun. We got the election. Oh, this is fantastic. Now you're like, I've spent a year covered in mud with leeches all over my body, and I'm done. Tell me otherwise. Tell me you're oh no, I'm fine. No, there's no, I don't know anybody. I talked to my daughter. I talked to Robin. No, we're done. That's it. None, no more. Close. Turn it off. You feel that way? I believe you do, but you didn't feel it then. So he couldn't drop the hammer the way he's been talking. Now, many, many people in the population are saying, do something. All right. Well, let me close by showing you one piece of do something, because I think some of you guys may know this guy. And I pulled this video because I think he speaks for every single one of us. And let's take a listen into this.
Community that the Somali community has shown me. Thank you so much.
We are being lied to. And not only are we being lied to, we're being exploited at the highest degree. And then on top of it, we're being replaced with the dollars that we work our f***ing asses off to produce for our families. They are taking those dollars, they are bringing in people that f***ing hate us, and then they are paying them to be here. And if that doesn't piss you the f*** off, dude, I don't know what will. Because I'm going to tell you this, dude, I've worked my ass off for damn near 30 years trying to create jobs and careers and build income and wealth and done all this shit. And these motherfuckers are opening up a daycare and getting $10 million dollars. This is insane, dude. And with no kids. If this isn't the breaking point for everybody to stand the up and say enough, then our country is doomed. Period. Okay? Donald Trump needs to feel all the smoke over this. All of it. Okay? He needs to feel all of it over Israel. He needs to understand that he is violating the promises that he has made to the American people. Okay? I've always been a guy that has given that man tons and tons and tons of benefit of the doubt. But at this point in time, that shit is over. And every single motherfucker that ever voted for him or stood with him needs to let him know. He needs to let him hear it. Because, dude, I'm telling you right now, if he doesn't do something about this and he doesn't start arresting motherfuckers, and he doesn't hold people accountable for the Epstein shit and for this shit and for all the fraud and all the raping that's been going on the American taxpayer for fucking decades, he will go down, and not as the best president, he will go down literally as the man who had the opportunity to save this country and chose not to.
He's right, isn't he? He's right where his anger at this point has been raised to 11. 11. Turned it up a little bit higher than 10. He's had it. You've had it. So many people have had it. I got to ask you a question in closing here. Do you not think the man who was impeached twice, that they tried to take his property away from him, they tried to take his business away from him, they tried to destroy his friends, his family, and then take his life from him, do you not think he's had it for quite some time? You see, I think President Trump sees stuff like Andy just did. I think President Trump, because we know he's the social media president, we know he reads and watches everything. We know he watches fake news. He coined the phrase fake news. So he sees it all. And I think he sits back. I think they're ready. I think they finally get it. Because I need you at 9 or 10 or 11. I need you so pissed off that when I do what I do, you all will say, well done, sir. See, when you were just 3 or 4 and you were just like, I'm going to go to work today, you weren't ready. Some of you still may not be ready. Some of you guys are at 9, 10, or 11, and you're like, do it. And so when I see stuff like Andy Frisella and I see him screaming, angry, and I see other people saying, I've effing had it, do something. He sees it too. And he needed to get you to 11. He needs you to get to the point where you absolutely are ready to blow your stack. Because this is not going to be a passive event. The other side is going to go to 12 when he does it. The other side may take to the streets and burn things down when he does it. He can't afford to have a bunch of 4s and 5s. He can't afford to have some people who aren't even paying attention. We all need to be at 10. And I think I think we are getting close to that time where he can see people like Andy and see this person and that person who are like, F him. If he doesn't get, okay, that's right where I want you to be. Because you're not going to match what they do if you're not there as well. If you're not ready to fight for your country, you're not ready. And he needs to know that you are ready when they go ballistic. They're going to go nuts. There can't be a single one of you watching this video right now who thinks they're going to take it sitting down. If he rolls the military into cities, if he does what we hope he's going to do with the Insurrection Act, they are going to go off the charts. They will be rabid dogs. They will be attacking you in stores. And I say that with full confidence because of one thing. Because when he does it, it's the end of the Democrat Party. You will see people fighting for their very livelihoods. They know if he puts in if he gets rid of mail-in ballots, if he makes voter ID a reality, if he cuts off all this money here and cuts off all this money there, they're done. So they're going to be fighting for their very survival. Are you there? Are you ready to begin fighting for the very survival of the country and the way of life that you want? Because if you're not, then it's still not time. It's still not time. And I'm sure he measures things. I mean, you saw what Dan Scavino posted, his little comms that he puts out there, the guy making the popcorn. But there's really no way to measure sentiment until he sees it. When he sees people like Andy, and he sees you, and he sees your friends, and he continually sees people go, I'm done. Effing do something to these people. Because if it's not widespread, if we don't see a groundswell of people ready to meet what they're going to do, it's going to be trouble. So I hope you're at 10. I hope you continue to see more and get to 10. Because I don't think he's going to do anything until it's proven that everybody is ready. Many of you are Christian, and you know the story about Peter, Simon. Yeah, by the time the cock throws 3 times, you're going to deny me, aren't you? Because basically what it said is when S got tough, some of the tough got going, some of the other tough said, I don't know about this. Well, we're getting, if we're not there yet, we're getting to that point where you're going to have to risk it all as well. That might not be something you're ready to hear. Think back to maybe 1860s. I think back maybe to 1776, and I'm thinking to myself, there were people ready to push the chips all in. Let's do it. Let's do this. Well, are you ready? It's easy to say in a chat, do something, I'm over it. But you need to really have some introspection, stand in front of a mirror and go, maybe it's time for me to put the eye black on. Maybe I need to get my family ready. Because it's not going to be pretty. This is not going to be something that you can be a bystander in. Shit's going to hit the fan. I can't keep telling you that. I watch. I get screamed at, oh, nobody's doing anything. And I think to myself, I haven't said this before, but I think to myself, you ain't doing anything yet because you ain't ready. You see, the more people point at Pam, the more who people point over here tells me you're not ready. You want somebody else to get it done. What are you willing to do? And I don't mean this facetiously. I'm actually looking at people, I'm going to say, oh yeah, you want stuff to happen. Oh, you got to do it. Okay, are you ready? Are you ready to eat ramen? Are you ready for the power to go out? Are you ready to go to the bank and you can't get into the ATM? Are you ready to hit the mattresses? Are you ready to do what's necessary? Because when, and hopefully he flips the switch, there's no turning back. Am I scaring you? I don't know. But it's not like you're going to get a little bit pregnant here. You're going all the way. If and when he hits the button on the Insurrection Act, hell is going to break loose. Demons are going to scream. Prayer and armament are going to be required. So if you get yourself to 10 or 11, then you're at the point where you're ready to do battle. But until then, you're just talking in a chat. And I know he wants people who are ready to back him. You want me to do this? You want me to flip the switch? You want me to end the Democrat Party and do away with all this crap and these Somalis and Sudanese and Venezuelans and mail-in votes and all the other crap? Do you really want me to do away with this? All right, let's do it. Break the huddle. Let's go. Let's rock. If you're ready. If you're ready. All right, everybody. Somebody goes, I've been ready for 10 years. That's what I'm talking about, Cupcake. I've been ready for 10 years. Yeah, that's what it's going to take. And you guys will see your friends, your family members, your coworkers, people at the golf course, whatever. And they go, oh, he needs to do something. What are you going to do? You ready? Huh? What do you mean? Are you ready? Because if for an instant you think at this point these people are going to go easy, nope, not at all. So he goes, where was that? This is going to be a S8. I've never heard that before. It's going to be a S hits the fan moment that's going to last longer than a moment. Better be prepared. We are hurricane at belt, people. Yeah. Yeah. And the whole thing is, I've been waiting just like you. I've been a little bit more patient than other people because I know what I've seen what's going to happen. And you can start and just get yourselves ready. All right, everybody, what you guys have I forget to do super chats. Sometime with SV's not here, I forget to do what I need to do. And one of those things I needed to do is do super chats. But again, you've seen it already. You can see what has happened. You can see that just in closing, I'll just go through what I've covered today and the different things that I see. You know now that RFK Jr. has cut off the payments for childcare. You now know that Kelly Loeffler has shut down SBA loans. You now know that Scott Turner has shut down Section 8 payments. So you're going to have some landlords freaking out. Freaking out. You now know that he's suing the University of Virginia or State of Virginia for doing the things that they're doing. You now know that there's a court that has ruled that he can have the Medicaid data per state and that they can't withhold it. And then he's going to know, number one, that you've been lying all this time because you kept saying there was nobody on it. There's no newcomers on Medicaid. So as you leave here today, understand you just got revealed a whole lot of do something. You just were told a whole lot that yes, indeed, they are doing something. And you can recall it and understand that. All right, so let me do super chats. And right now, while we're on holiday break, I'm still doing the one show a day thing. I can't wait to get back in the saddle and do things twice a day, which we shall recover for. All right, so what do we got here? First off, wow. Who's this? Ernest Walker, zero money to Sudan, all of it to Bibles. Wow, thank you very much. Yeah, Robin, now that the kids are gone, Robin's going to be back on the Bibles. Thank you very much. Picasso, survived Christmas food. Temporary Chicago, balmy 10 degrees. That's kind of cold. No, that ain't kinda. That's cold as heck. That's really cold. For a moment, it felt like the Weather Channel. Picasso again. There are only two kinds of people: robbers and us paying the bills. Thomas Stanton kicked him out now. I agree. James, time for the Marines and the 82nd Airborne and anybody else he needs to get out there. Fikowski, everything is panem et circenses to feed the masses. Bread and circuses. Gotcha. Charlene, thank you. Larry, 1754. Hey, Larry. 60 charged and convicted in the Minnesota fraud were any actually sentenced and served or serving time? Not yet. Or what punishment did they get? Don't know, but I will find out. But they are being convicted. Kyle Frosty, I wonder if the United Healthcare CEO. Yeah, that's another one. Rosio, Barry, the day President Trump shut the country down for 2 weeks, I knew that God was pulling back the curtain and beginning to reveal evil. I never dreamed it was this bad. It's bad. Let me just say, it's bad. And if you have the chance to see some of the stuff that, well, you may not be ready for that. I'll hold off. Cindy, what can us citizens do to help? I can't go to Antifa protests without causing trouble. Nope. I think what you can do to help is to let other people know, get ready. Don't just get mad and post something. Understand what the ramifications are. I'm not, just so you know, I'm not being at all joking. I'm not being overly dramatic or hyperbolic. I am saying, and you should know at this point, these people are going to go ape shit. Excuse my language. So if you're ready for something to happen, do something, well, maybe let everybody know you're ready. Instead of pointing at you do something, no, we all have to. Our part is to let everybody know we've had enough. That's it. What was the movie? Network? Go to the window and scream. I'm mad as hell, and I ain't going to take it anymore. Jane Cott, Make America Great Again. Thank you. Linnell, I'm a mail carrier in Florida. I've seen the newcomers getting rental homes. I'd see Americans get kicked out, and they would move in 4 to 6 people in the home. Then there would be immigration and welfare mail. Mm-hmm. Yep. Carmorthron, that guy Dave that did the legwork also deserves mad props. He was the guy walking around with Nick Shirley. There's a video out. I didn't have a chance to watch it, but the guy Dave has challenged anybody to prove he's wrong, and he put up $100,000 of his own money if you can prove he's wrong. That's somebody standing behind their word. Buddy, are there any politicians and law enforcement in Somali that aren't corrupt? It probably can't be. I mean, the mayor actually, it looked like a hostage video. Rock and roll Lemmy from Motorhead. Minnesota is my home state. My dad told me about the corruption in the 60s. Then the Vietnamese boat people who ruined my grandma's neighborhood in St. Paul, and now the Somalians. Wow. It's been a known secret. Larry, do members of Congress pay taxes on their salary? I believe they pay income tax. But if they don't, they're not getting arrested. Rocket roll Lemmy again. As an Army combat veteran, they all need to be deported. They see us as infidels and want us gone. Absolutely. Linnell, Mike Benz is a great source for rabbit holes. He is indeed. G. Fisher, you tell me Wallace, Ellison, Frey, and Omar weren't pocketing max cash, and I got $1 million starter home for you. Yep, they were in on it. Chiosaba in New York, if they have VA or NC plates, they're probably newcomers. I wouldn't doubt that. Deidre, Barry, did you see the adoption hub in Ohio that sold children to a Somali? Oh my gosh. They've been indicted, so not a rumor. How many more? What are the missing kids, Somalia? Yeah, that was the other thing with the daycare center stuff. G. Fisher, why is a 20-year-old kid doing the DOJ's job is my question. You know, let me come back to that. Gulf Omega, thank you, buddy, again. Let Somali Soda send the money to Sudan. Really. Fume German, we almost made it without seeing Abby Phillips. Hey, Sudan, you're in a desert. Move to where the food is. Sam Kinnison. My dog is barking now. Tania, Barry is a half white, half Cuban. My white side is mortified by white liberal women. Something wrong. Something really wrong with them. Deirdre says Tim is going to fake the evidence AI otherwise. Nope, can't fake that because they're going to have where the money actually went. For Gulf, revolt, do not file your taxes. I'm not going to say that because I don't want to see people get in trouble. Demon of Cybertron, Barry, we're not at 10, we're at 100. All right. That's where we need to be. Petty says she's at 20. Jennifer, I believe that Trump knows he needs to get things in order. Absolutely. Can't do. The thought of him doing what he's saying he's going to do is a huge thing. I'm sure it weighs heavy on his mind. I'm sure he's had prayer. I'm sure he's had counsel. He's like, because there's no coming back from this. This is probably as big a decision as any president, including George Washington, has ever had to make, to declare something like an insurrection and do what needs to be done. I can't even imagine. He's probably getting pulled 20 ways. Tim, Trump is now now or never president, or it won't happen. I'm not walking behind him, but I'm walking hand in hand. Me too. Hello, Neil. Thank you, Barry, for all you do. More big Bibles. Thank you. Been waiting since the vote. It's Nessum Dormant time. Do it, Mr. Trump. Move them out, troops. God bless America. And Cami Shamath from Silicon Valley wants to crowdsource an army of Nick Shirley's to do investigative reporting nationwide. That is very cool. Shamath was I won't say he's a partner, but he's with the All In podcast. He's got bucks, and if they start funding investigative journalists like that, it'd be awesome. Somebody asked why did Nick Shirley do the job that the DOJ was supposed to do? And the one thing that just gets me, and I keep coming back to it, I don't know if it'll ever come out, but I'm in Boca, and I don't know where you are. But if I were going to have to go do something, somebody would have to point me in that direction. Somebody would have had to have told Nick, you need to check this out. Because we didn't know. I don't think he knew. That guy Dave. That guy Dave reached out to him and said, you probably have to check this out. And that guy Dave in his videos was the one who had the stacks of, but Dave didn't have the social media presence that Nick has. So I don't think that he did the job of the DOJ, but at this point now we know it's out there and it's not going to go away, and there's going to be more and more and more of this stuff that gets shown. So keep your eyes open, and we'll close again by just saying, just get ready. Just get ready. All right, talk to you guys soon.